Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
It is the Field of 68 after dark on this Friday night. I'm with Terrence Oglesby. I'm with Tyler Hansbrough, and this is John Fanta on this Friday, January the 5th, 2024. On tonight's show, we've got a fresh edition of Fanta's Forum, where counselors Oglesby and Hansbrough will present their cases, and you in the chat, as well as me, Judge Fanta, will determine a winner. We'll see how that goes. But we begin tonight with a top 10 showdown in college basketball that just concluded. Final score, Purdue 83, Illinois 78. The Boilermakers have won 7 in a row. They are 14-1 on the season. Terrence Oglesby, your instant reaction to this game.
Hey, look, when you're really good, sometimes you got to win ugly. And when the best player in college basketball doesn't play well and gets in foul trouble, he still finds a way to go 5 for 5 from the field, get 15 boards, and produce at least while he was in the game. Look, he can't be brilliant every night. And on a night where he had it not his best game, Trey Kaufman-Renn probably played his best game. Braden Smith, even though there were times where he was a little shaky, 4 turnovers, still played extremely well. And Lance Jones hit some timely shots. Look, it's a Purdue team that even when they're not on their best day, they can still beat you, especially at home. But kudos to Illinois. I thought this was a team that really, it seemed like they were down and out. I think the game started 20-4. That's difficult to crawl out of. I know Tyler never ended up in that situation ever. But Clemson, we did maybe a time or two. They're not easy mountains to climb. And kudos to Illinois for at least getting back into the game and giving themselves a shot.
Tyler, your thoughts on this win for Purdue?
Well, to me, the final score isn't a good indication of how the game went. I didn't think Illinois capitalized in certain situations when they should have. When they got Edey in foul trouble in the first half, I didn't think that they handled that very well. I thought they should have capitalized on that. Edey doesn't get in foul trouble a lot. When you have the best player in college and you take him off the court, I think you should have a run and, have a little bit of an advantage. But I don't think that they played well as a team. I thought they played disciplined and took a lot of selfish shots. But to me, also the storyline tonight is for Purdue, they had somebody step up that wasn't Edey, that wasn't Fletcher Lawyer or Braden Smith. And it happened to come from Kaufman, what is his name, Kaufman-Renn
Kaufman-Renn.
Yeah, and he went off, and that's big for Purdue. When it can take a little bit of pressure off those two guards in Edey, I think it's going to make Purdue extremely tough down the stretch, and they need somebody else that can provide them a little relief, even outside of Lance Jones, too.
Well, Terrence, that's just it. You look at tonight. If I had told you coming in, Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer are going to go a combined 5 for 20 against any team, nor alone Illinois, who I know they're without the suspended Terrence Shannon, but Marcus Domask is a big-time scorer. Quincy Guerrier had 18 points. Domask had 20 in the second half. If I had told you that, first off, I don't think anybody would ever guess you'd be down 20-4. Tonight,
Right.
You were doomed by a horrible start. You take out the first 8 minutes of this game and Illinois wins the game. But you're down 20-4. You look up and you're down 16 points. And the only people that you have to blame are yourselves. I know it's the number 1 team in the country. I know Mackey Arena won Purdue the game tonight. That place is as tough as any in college basketball, and it won Purdue the game, Terrence Oglesby, because they come out guns a-blazing. Their guards did not play well. And I think that we saw tonight, to Purdue's credit, they can win a game in different ways, more ways than last year, right?
I think you're absolutely right. And another thing, too, we got an inconsistent Fletcher Lawyer again. What happens whenever he's been inconsistent, had one of his, worst games, ends up with 5 points on 1 of 8 shooting. Sometimes, especially when your constant isn't there, you're going to need him. That all being said, they kind of went against that narrative today with some of these other guys. Kaufman-Renn became a focal point whenever Zach Edey was on the bench. I thought Mason Gillis came in, gave some good minutes. I thought this was promising for the other guys, if nothing else. And Tyler, you talked a little bit about Illinois shot selection. Sometimes they're just going to be susceptible to that. You know, they have some talented guys, and you have to let them rock a little bit, I guess. But I think some of their wild habits at times can also get them back into games. But when it comes down to crunch time, you got to take good shots. That turnover at the end, gosh, what happened? He goes baseline. It was
travel
with Coleman Hawkins. Yeah, he tries to go left, he travels. That set piece, after you get a flagrant call, you have to be able to at least get a shot on that possession. And Coleman Hawkins is really talented, but gosh, he leaves you wanting to punch a door on your way out sometimes if you're an Illinois fan, because some of the things he shows flashes of being a first round pick, and then he does 3 stupid things in a row, and you're just left scratching your head.
Tyler, if you got a chance to sit down for a couple of minutes with Coleman Hawkins, what would you say to him?
First of all, when I watch Coleman Hawkins play, I think sometimes he gets caught up in, you know, when things don't go his way, especially with officiating. I think he puts too much energy and effort into sometimes paying too much attention to that. And I think it takes away from his focus to the game. But also, I would tell Coleman, stop putting so much emphasis on scoring. I think that if you impact the game in other areas, I think it'd be very beneficial to your team. I think sometimes he tried to go ISO or, you know, play hero ball when it's better, you know, to pass it around and get to some type of flow and let the game come to you. But and I don't think he's the only one on Illinois that needs to hear that. I think they need to play more as a team and more discipline. And sometimes with their shot selection, I mean, you know, some of these shots these guys are taking, I'm like, Joe Johnson in his prime ISO mode. I mean, he wouldn't be even taking that. And it's mind-blowing to think that guy thinks he can make that shot sometimes. And it's not even late in the shot clock. Sometimes it's, you know, with 20, 23 seconds left on the shot clock. And I scratch my head and I just sit there and say, well, they don't deserve to win the game if they take shots like that. It's just losing battle.
T.O.?
Yeah, there's truth to all that. The only thing I would kind of counter there is I thought Marcus Domask, sometimes they run some of this long-winded offense to where, like, in the last 6 or 7 seconds, like, Domask is having to make something happen. And I was worried once Terrence Shannon went out, because that's a guy that makes something happen no matter what. At whatever time, he can at least get a quality look off. I wasn't sure they were going to be able to have that. Domask has proven that at least, if nothing else, he can get a quality look off. I thought he actually played fairly well, and Luke Good played well. I thought it said a lot about Illinois, the fact that they started down 16 points basically for this game and able to crawl back in and fight back in. And it was funny. There was a play with about 12 minutes to go in the second half. They made a play. Illinois' bench gets fired up, and I look at the score, and they're down 16, but they were still going. So, you know, credit to that. It's a tough place to play at Mackey, or it looks like it has. I've never been to Mackey. Bucket list situation there for me, trying to get to Mackey Arena. But they battled, and Domask has been a pleasant surprise. I think everybody thought he was good. I don't think people thought he could go into Mackey Arena, have 26, and kind of be the bell cow for a Big Ten team that's ranked in the top 10 of the country.
Terrence, do you think that even without Terrence Shannon, that you would put Illinois second in the Big Ten?
Looking at the Big Ten right now, yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot of competition for second. I think it's been 1 and 2 pretty much the entire season. I'm kind of up and down on the Big Ten. There's games where I'll watch one in the non-conference. I'm just like, you know what? That's not terrible.
Why are you up and down?
Well, because you never know what you're going to get on a given night. Like, if you looked at Michigan State, you walk into the start of the season, you're like, man, this is a top 10 team. Good guard play, veterans. They got a top 5 recruit in the class coming in at a spot of need, and they haven't played him. It's like, you know what? Like, I would say right now, I would go Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin's in the mix. Nebraska's been playing well. I think there is a substantial drop-off even after those top 2 at this point in the season.
Tyler, what is it about the Big Ten that maybe lends itself to T.O.'s point? Because you're watching this style of a game when you're watching ACC basketball versus Big Ten basketball? What are the differences?
Well, to me, there's only one style in the Big Ten, and it's kind of that bruiser ball. And now they're starting to hemorrhage more. He's just like everybody else in college basketball. But I think the thing that separates the ACC, which is the best conference in basketball historically, and there's no other conference that comes close, you see different styles in the ACC. You see Syracuse historically with their zone play. And then you used to have Clemson that used to press the whole time. That gives you a different style. Then you have Florida State who used to play, tough physical defense. But also you see a lot of different styles in the ACC. You don't see that in the Big Ten. And so that's what I think makes the Big Ten susceptible, especially come tournament time, and especially why they probably haven't seen the success as these other conferences have.
Here's the thing. The Big Ten is still going to find a way to get 6 or 7 teams to the NCAA tournament. They have to field 68. I know you're shaking your head. This conference it gets a bad rap because of the lack of NCAA tournament success, and I get that. But if this Purdue team can't get to at least an Elite 8, I'll eat my shirt. And I've eaten a lot of things, but never a shirt. I'm going to tell you right now, this team can win a game in a variety of ways, and they just did it tonight. I mean, Trey Kaufman-Renn, he's not going to do that every night, T.O. But I give him credit because with about 5 minutes left, this is an 11-point game, they leave him wide the hell open. There's nobody within 5 feet. And you know this, T.O. Sometimes it's harder to make the shot when there's nobody around you than when somebody's in your face. And he drilled it. He drilled it, and that got them up 14. And Illinois put up a furious comeback. And I'll ask you this, Terrence. Did you learn more tonight about Purdue? Or did you learn more about this Illinois team without Shannon, and maybe there's a reason to believe in them still despite being without him?
I think they showed some resolve. I think that's the biggest thing. But in my opinion, I thought we learned a little bit more about Purdue because the constants weren't there. Like even though Zach Edey, goes for 10 and 15, which by all accounts for most players, that's a great night. Maybe not Tyler Hansbrough and Zach Edey. Outside of that, that's a great night for a lot of players. He wasn't what he usually is, and he goes 0 for 3 from the free throw line. Well, you had to find a way to win. And when you're at the top of the mountain, you have to find ways to win ugly. That's just point blank, period. You're going to have to find ways to win ugly when you don't play your best brand of basketball. And Purdue certainly did that with their energy. They certainly did it to start out the game. They built up just enough cushion, and they had just enough scoring from some of the other guys. You needed those other guys to have a good game too, to build some confidence, because it's been very Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Zach Edey-ish for them this season. Now the other guys are starting to get their footing, and sometimes the best thing that can happen, John, is that guy gets confidence. Kaufman-Renn gets that level of confidence and starts playing well, and then you're adding another 12 and 8 besides Zach Edey. That's a tough cover, especially if he went 1 for 1 from 3. It didn't look bad. I'm surprised he didn't take another one. Like it told me more today about Purdue than I think it did Illinois. But there's a lot of grit with that Illinois team. I got to give them credit, man. Getting back in that game, there's a lot of teams that would have folded up and went home with their tail between their legs. Not Illinois, not Brad Underwood. Those guys battled.
Do you think, Tyler, that Illinois is the second best team in the Big Ten, or would you go Wisconsin? Do you think Ohio State with Bruce Thornton and Roddy Gale have a case? Is Michigan State going to emerge now and be number 2 with the run they've been on? What do you think?
They're all better than Illinois. Tonight, this told me a lot about Illinois. I think if we would have looked at the stat sheet and said, hey, Edey's not going to play a lot, he's going to get in foul trouble, we would suspect that, hey, maybe Illinois is going to win. And I don't give teams a lot of credit for just keeping it close. They never led the whole game. To me, the score didn't indicate the way the game went. I thought Illinois should have handled their situations a little bit better. They didn't capitalize in moments when they should have to win the game. But I'm not counting Michigan State out. I like Izzo. I think he has some players. I know they're not off to a good start, but I think they can turn around, be competitive, and be one of the top teams in the Big Ten.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.